Hi guys, Matt the Editor here, and welcome to the first edition of Doctor Who Series 12 Who Editor Reviews. I apologize if I've released this episode a bit late. I was thinking of doing reaction videos straight after watching the episode, but I felt like I needed more time to sort of relax and think over what I saw of this episode of Doctor Who, and wait out to see how other fans are reacting to this episode. So much like I did with Series 11, this is pretty much my first reactions to this episode. My opinions on each episode of this series could possibly change in the near future, but for now these are just my first thoughts and what I thought about my first time watching each episode. I'm going to make this review kind of short in order to avoid spoilers, and since I'm a Doctor Who fan, I don't want to go too overboard. But one of the things I pretty much noticed looking at everyone's reactions to this episode, they mainly talked about the cliffhanger ending, which I will talk about later in this video, but I'm not going to go into full detail just in case anyone hasn't seen the episode yet. But also, I'm just going to wait and see how this plays out in part 2, because, well, modern era Doctor Who's have not been that well when it comes to the two-parters. So I'm just going to see how this plays out in episode 2, and then I'll do like a full-on spoiler discussion on what that cliffhanger was about. But I thought I'd discuss what my overall opinion about this entire episode was, because honestly, Series 11, I think we can all agree, had some good moments, but I think we can all agree it was played safe. This was a new era, a new showrunner, a new doctor, a female doctor in particular, and so obviously there was going to be like so many fan backlashes and outbursts. So obviously the BBC had to play it safe, and in doing so, Chris Chibnall's scripts haven't been all that good, while the other writers have been pretty damn good. But like I said, when it comes to like the new showrunner, they would need a series to sort of, just to sort of warm themselves up before they can go all out crazy and all out exciting, all out challenging for the next season. And yeah, from the looks of this series opener, it looks like we're definitely getting that, because this episode was so good. This is a massive upgrade from the previous series. This episode was better written, it was better directed, and it was better performed. And I think what really works about this particular episode is the characters, especially when it comes to the Doctor and the fam. The Doctor is pretty much called up from MI6, which honestly I don't think we've seen it before. I mean, most of the episodes we've seen of both the classic and the modern era has had the Doctor working with UNIT, and I think from what it looks like we're getting, it looks like that stupid line they had about UNIT shutting down in Resolution is actually going to be permanent. It looks like UNIT is officially shut down. It does seem likely they're going to give us more stories involving other organizations, other authorities, or other spy units, just to sort of come to grips of all these strange alien occurrences. And it looks like they're calling the Doctor for help. That's actually not a bad idea. I mean, most of the time, we get UNIT calling the Doctor because they know the Doctor. But it looks like this show is now taking all the other authorities or organizations we know of, and it does seem like they obviously don't know about this sort of stuff. Like, I mean, particularly with spies. Spies have to do all this stuff like go undercover, keep an open eye out for any strange occurrences. And alien occurrences is something they haven't seen before. So my guess is, since UNIT and Torchwood have been shut down, they now have to call the Doctor, who's done this before. I think that's actually a very clever idea. And I think it really, really works into this particular story. Jodie Whittaker is definitely getting used to playing this Doctor. It looks like they've kind of developed this character a little bit more than they did in Series 11. In Series 11, they pretty much played her safe. I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but I think because she was the first female Doctor, they had to make her perfect. They had to play her safe. They had to give her no flaws. Whilst in this one, They make it look like the Doctor knows what she is doing, but it turns out she doesn't. And I really am okay with that, because when you're making your main character, you've got like two types of characters. You make them A, flawed, but interesting nonetheless, but then you make them too perfect, they're kind of boring. And that was kind of my main issue with the Doctor in not all of Series 11, but in parts of Series 11. And here, this Doctor is way more interesting than she was in Series 11. I mean, from the start, it looked like the Doctor did not seem to trust working with MI6, and when she heard her name, she's clearly not happy with how these organizations work. Another moment is when these creatures are breaking into the TARDIS, and she is shocked to find that they've managed to get through the TARDIS, even though the TARDIS doors could protect them. And yes, even when the big cliffhanger moment happened, she is completely shocked. I mean, it looks like this entire series is building up to everything that the Doctor knows is a lie. So I'm kind of curious to see where that goes, but I'm not saying this character is entirely flawed. I mean, she did have a very cool moments, like when she is face to face with this creature and she is talking in a very slow, calm pace. I mean, the Doctor still has the usual stuff that she did in series 11, like all the silly talk and the fascination stuff. I mean, I did love that moment where she was playing cards in the casino scene and she played it like a game of Snap. I really liked that. I thought, okay, that really worked. I mean, the entire casino scene was pretty good as well. I mean, they were all dressed up. They were all doing different things. Like, the Doctor was playing cards. Yasmin was playing dice. Graham and Ryan were playing... I don't know what that game is, but it really looked like they were having a great time. What really helped this Doctor work for me is her fam, Ryan, Yasmin, and Graham. They've really been listening to fan requests or outbursts in this series, because it really looks like the characters who did not get that much development in series 11 had got full-on development in this episode, particularly Yasmin and Ryan. Ryan and Yasmin, we seem to know a bit more about where they came from. Like for instance, when we first see the two of them, I mean, Yas still has her family, and Ryan was with his friends in the basketball field. And it sounds like Ryan seems to have a little crush on Yaz's sister, suggesting that he could be a good brother-in-law to Yaz. So, okay, I'm interested to see where that might go. But yeah, just basically the scene with these two, when they're going undercover as journalist and photographer, sort of Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen, I thought was very clever. But yeah, from what everyone else has said, Yasmin has definitely had so much development in this episode, because she's literally one of the stars in this episode. I mean, everything from when she is basically taking time off her job to go undercover, down to when she's like literally asking the first question, she's given stuff to do, she's reading the records, she's got all the gadgets to go around. She has really a lot to do, and her real character and her skills at what she can do. I mean, she's a cop and she's undercover. It works. I love how her enthusiasm seems to seems to in the end get her into trouble with the creatures. Well, I won't go into any detail what that is, but I'm pretty sure that's going to play out in part 2. And Graham seems to be taking a back seat at the moment, which is fair enough. He clearly had quite a lot of character development in the previous series, so I imagine this one he's basically taking a back seat so these two can really take the spotlight. But he still has his good moments, like when he is called to MI6 and he clearly seems to be having fun playing the spy. Like, I love the moment when he picks up a shoe and he says like, "I'll shoot you with this shoe," and shouldn't going outside be the low point? That stuff was pretty good. But yeah, he was still pretty good. Having this series start off as a spy-based story, I think is a great idea, because everything this episode did related to the spy plot, stuff like the action scenes, the stuff with gadgets, Yaz and Ryan going undercover, conspiracies and double crosses, all of that was done brilliantly despite the cheapness of the production work. But all the spy stuff I thought was absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed watching those stuff. When it's not the spy stuff, it's not bad, it's just kind of slow. That's kind of my first nitpick with this episode. I mean, the first half of the episode did feel a little slow, but to be fair, that usually happens in every action spy film, doesn't it? Where you meet our main character, a strange occurrence happens, they get brought to like an organization, they do a lot of talking, telling them what's going on, they have to give them all the information, they have to do all this stuff before the action scenes happen halfway through. So I get why there was some slow stuff. It's just there were a couple of moments, not just in the first act, but also in parts of the second act, which I thought was actually a bit slow. But to be fair, it does give us more time to really develop these characters, especially with this new Doctor Yaz, Ryan, and Graham, as well as other supporting characters that we've got in this episode, particularly the character of O. Now, obviously, a lot of people are talking about this character, but before the big reveal happened at the end, I really like this character. This is a person who has worked with the Australian Secret Service. That's another thing I forgot to mention about this spy stuff. It goes international with all this stuff. They go to different parts of the planet just to work out what is going on. And this character O is part of this Australian Secret Service, who's done their research of the Doctor, but also has met the Doctor. He even mentions when she was a man. But he also says that as well as meeting the Doctor, before this episode, he's also got like an entire bookshelf of research on the Doctor, and I thought for a moment Graham was going to have a quick glance at this Doctor and start to have mixed opinions about this person he's been following with. But the other guest stars we've got, like Stephen Fry as this character C, I think his name was. He was pretty good. I mean, he had his well-spoken diction, which he does. Like he usually does when he's like doing those audio recordings. But he still has that sort of comedy facial expressions in him. But yeah, Stephen Fry, he was pretty good in this episode, even though he wasn't in it for that long, which was a real shame, but it was still great to see him appear in Doctor Who. Which then leaves our other guest star, Lenny Henry, as Daniel Barton, whom I'm guessing is supposed to be this person who is pretty much who's in charge of this organization 4, which I think I know what that is relating to. I think it's a classic monster, maybe a monster we've possibly used in my own action figure adventures, but I don't want to get into full much detail. But the way Lenny Henry is playing him is very, very straight. He's kind of some sort of control freak. I mean, like, I did like the moment where he's having the interview with Yasmin and Ryan, who are undercover reporters, and before they start, he starts to do like a few security file checks to see if they are who they really are. And I thought, why hasn't any other person in charge of a spy company done that? Or even times which I thought, God, this guy is creepy. Much like Stephen Fry, he still has the sort of, I mean, he is a comedy actor. He still has all those funny facial expressions, but he's clearly having a good time. There's not really much to talk about him so far. I mean, this is a two-parter, but it does kind of feel like maybe they're setting him up for something in part 2. Maybe he is a good guy, maybe he is a bad guy, but I don't know. Well, it does seem like they're setting him up for something in part 2, which I'm really looking forward to see what it is. Oh, I almost forgot to talk about those creatures. I'm just gonna call it, I think they're the Ford. I mean, if not by their body structure, like the heads and all that, then look at the name of the company. It's Ford. It's obvious. It's got to be the Ford. But other than that, if they are just original creatures, I mean, they were genuinely creepy. I mean, yeah, them, sort of appearing through, appearing from one point to another. It's very weeping angel-like, but honestly, having the entire scene set in the dark, and then nothing but just this big bright light, it's actually very clever. It's terrifying. I especially loved how they seem to be going through all the walls, and every time they emerge from the walls, a part of what they came through is their face. Like there was a scene where they crawl out from a painting, a wall with the British flag, and I think they came through a ceiling at some point, I think, and you just see a part of that on their faces. That is such a good detail. But yeah, much like with Lenny Henry's character, it looks like we don't know much about these creatures yet, so it's possible we might find out more in part 2, which I don't think we've ever seen that in Doctor Who before. I mean, yeah, every time, they reveal a new creature in a two-parter, it's always at the halfway point in part 1. But I think with the exception of the Cybermen in Rise of the Cybermen, we don't know what these creatures are. So, yeah, so it may be possible part 2 we might be learning more about what these creatures are, how do they work, and what exactly is their plan. I love it when a show does that. It doesn't really give you all the answers in the first story. It takes its time to build up the mystery of what these creatures are and what this threat we're dealing with is. But Yeah, let's talk about the one thing everyone is talking about, and that is the big reveal at the end. Now, I'm not going to spoil what it is. I'm going to see how it actually plays out in episode 2. Now, I've seen all the reactions. People are really, really liking the big reveals. Like, oh, this is amazing. This is awesome. This is going to be good. I didn't like it. Okay, now at first, when I was watching it, the build up to it, because when they were about to reveal it, I thought, oh, this is interesting. What are they going to do? But then there's a line which this character says, and I was just like, oh no, please don't. And yes, it's this one character who's been coming back to the show again and again and again, and I was just like, really? How long has it been now? 2 seasons? Well, technically 4 years, but 2 seasons since we last saw you? Come on, Chip. No, there's got to be other villains, yeah, that you could have done, like, I don't know, Madeline Monk, the Celestial Toy Maker. Oh, even has a toy in a matchbox. Yeah, it's basically a shrunken version, but it's clearly a Capaldi toy in a matchbox. But he could have been the Toy Maker, but no, it's just this one villain who's been coming back again and again. Here's the thing. As much as I'm sick and tired of the same villain coming back again and again, I will admit, watching it again, I thought, no, this actually works. Because first time watching it, even though I really didn't like who this character was, I was really, really enjoying how this scene was being done. I mean, clearly the actor was having a great time, and I really enjoyed watching. And yeah, the moment where this character takes out a matchbox and there's like a little person inside, that was really funny. I thought that was pretty good. And yeah, the more I thought about it, I thought, no, this actually works. And I think the reason why this reveal for this particular character works is because we were given time to know who this character was before the reveal, which is something which I think the previous reveals of this character has done. I mean, like the last 2 times in particular. I mean the last time we already knew this person was coming back, and the one before that we didn't really get to know that character before the actual reveal. So yeah, it didn't really help much there. But in this one, I actually liked this character throughout the entire episode, and then to have this episode pretty much stab me in the back, I was like, oh, that's very good. I gotta give you credit for that. So yeah, as much as I'm sick of this same character coming back over and over again, I am kind of glad that this happened, because it got me excited. It got me having a good time. It didn't get me sort of thinking, oh great, are we doing this now? It just made me thinking, oh, this is not what I wanted to see, but at the same time I didn't expect it, but carry on, I want to see more. So yeah, overall, this series is on to a very great start. The writing is getting better, the production work is better, the acting is on point, and even the music. I forgot to mention the music. The music in this is absolutely good, and I think having the sort of James Bond element of the music play in really, really helps in this episode. So yeah, oh god, I am so curious to know how this is going to turn out. I cannot wait for the next episode. Bring on episode 2. Once again, I'm not going to give this a proper mark yet. I'm going to see how this plays out in part 2, and I'm going to judge the entire story as an overall. I hope you guys are okay with that. So there you go, guys. That was my thoughts on SpyFall. Be sure to leave a comment, like, and share this video. And if you have seen this episode, what did you guys think of it? And if you'd like to see more of my videos, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.